you are a community club. DCFC is a community-built club. And it will always
team is pitching a plan to revitalize a historic gem in our community, and it's a project that's driven by their passion for their sport.
State of disrepair right now. Concrete sort of crumbling a little bit. The bleachers.
Football club. We're at Keyworth Stadium. This stadium was built in 1936.
Indeed, it's amazing to see just how far they have come. Years ago, they were playing over at Gas Tech, and now so many people.
The post and Stephon St. Louis is there to clear it.
Yeah, in the background, you know, they give us the 12th man. You know, it's awesome.
Games, fans to watch. We're happy to put on a show for all these guys that came out to see us play.
When we move, they move, and just communication is the biggest part.
It was great. I think we could have earned a shutout earlier against Sparta in the year.
Awesome. You know, the atmosphere is amazing.
Monday with the right foot. It's in the back of the net.
People know us now. People know what to expect. Now we gotta take it to another level.
Look, city till I die. Say hi to the bad fella. Hella smooth with the flow, so grab your umbrella. Yeah, we make it rain, bring the pain. Things are changing. Power rankings take a spanking, got them rearranging. They said Denise are all stars till we deboed all y'all. Ball of fist and brawl y'all. Yeah, we pissed off all y'all, and we thin but still winning. Grinning at the top, got up under head spinning, make that chin pop. Blue collar clocking in. They been mocking us for days till they step into the key, and they been leaving with a fade. Doubting us, but then they swayed. Say we pout, they throwing shade. You will never have what we have, time to get the blade. Cause we'll be cutting them up, yeah, we're shutting them up. We ain't bluffing, tell you something, better knuckle up. Y'all ain't nothing but chumps, we put in overtime. We'll be putting in work until it's closing time. City till I die, talking blood, sweat, and tears. City till I die, we've been building this for years. City till I die.
Hey everybody, Garrett here. The following episode of Channel 451 Tunnel Talk was recorded on Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025, the year of our Lord. What you'll be seeing will be Jaime the Peruvian hair god, Alan the cool badass that he is, glad he's growing facial hair, and our resident Irish-American Dennis. Maybe some others, who knows. We'll be talking about Detroit City FC's matchup with Rhode Island and all the hilarity and hijinks that took place with that, along with what's to come this coming weekend with Jagermeister Cup, and who else? Who knows what's going to happen? It's all part of the fun. Be sure, if you haven't already, to hit that like and subscribe on Channel 451, whether it's our YouTube page at Channel 451 or wherever you check out your podcast, Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, I think even too, maybe I'm talking out of my ass here. But yeah, go sit back, enjoy, and yeah, we go onward.
You gotta add like a couple motion lines.
So, welcome to Tunnel Talk. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll notice there's a theme tonight, which we'll get into. We'll get into the theme. Alan, Alan's in on the theme as well. He wanted to do a more artistic rendition of some of the things. So if you can see there.
My art.
Yep.
And it's
beautiful.
Very lifelike, isn't it?
I like how you shaded the one side of his face.
That's right. It's almost like a photo.
Yeah. I feel like this is like the new AI.
Not as good as AI.
Alan Intelligent.
You don't want that on your term paper.
Changing the world. So the first thing that we're going to do, with all this fanfare from the club about the 10th year at Keyworth, they've been posting a lot of memories, like highlights from different matches over the years. So the icebreaker question for the night is, was there one match at Keyworth that you weren't at for whatever reason? You were sick, you were gone. Some people like Adam didn't start coming around until 2019. Is there a game at Keyworth that you weren't at that you would have loved to have been at? And what is that game? Dennis.
Yeah, first one to look up loses. So I was trying to look through some of the friendlies because I think since 2017 I've been at most of the games at Keyworth I wanted to be at. So I think it would come down to one of the friendlies. Did we only play Atlas in 2019 in a friendly?
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure, but I could not find any photographic evidence to confirm that I was at a wedding that day.
Oh.
And the reason I probably can't find photos to confirm is that I'm pretty sure it was that day because City were playing a Mexican club who they beat, which I think Atlas might have been the first time we beat one of those Mexican clubs. Or
yes, I think so.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was at this wedding with my ex, and it was after we had broken up, but we had already said we would go to this wedding. So we amicably said we would go together. But obviously I wasn't too hot on taking pictures. So pretty sure that I watched along on Twitter at the wedding and found out they won. They had won 2-1 and was pretty pumped. Actually, I'm pretty sure I went in their photo booth at the wedding as a group because it was one of my friends I used to play softball with. So there was a big group of people there. It wasn't just us two awkwardly at this wedding. And on one of the signs I wrote that you could write on, I wrote City beat Atlas 2-1 or something.
Oh, that's in their permanent memories.
City 2. So it's probably in one of their photo books somewhere. Yeah, their photo booth photo book.
Perfect.
So yeah, that's the one. That's the only one that really came to mind that I missed at Keyworth that I would have liked to have been at because I'm sure the fucking atmosphere was off the fucking chain.
Yeah, that was. And Atlas had a pretty good group of supporters there too. So
yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, whenever Mexican teams roll through there, I think unless they're violently opposed to them, I think the people of Southwest kind of mobilize for the Mexican team.
I feel like FC Juarez didn't have that many people.
I think they might be one of the aforementioned teams that people don't really like.
Yeah, but Necaxa had a big group. Yeah. Obviously, Pumas last year had a big group.
Yeah, I was at Necaxa. I also, a big reason I didn't like missing it was at early 2019 in February or March. Me and my aforementioned ex, before we had split up, went to Mexico to Guadalajara.
Oh.
We saw the Guadalajara derby. It was
Chivas
against Atlas.
Yeah,
and we went to that game at Chivas's home stadium, whatever it's called, and we tailgated with Mexicans, and it was a good time. So there was two reasons I wish I didn't miss it. So I could have seen Atlas beaten twice in a calendar season.
And that doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't. I'm glad to believe.
Alan, any FOMO?
Well, I've been to a lot of matches. There's only a few I haven't been to.
Yeah.
Cause you're so old, right?
Well, I'm old.
Or you mean city matches?
And I'm not distracted with girlfriend or family or anything like that. So.
Oh well, now you're just gonna make us feel bad.
So, there was one famous match, one of the best matches that City's ever had, and I missed it.
Ooh.
Can you guess?
Oh, Columbus.
No. No, I was there for that.
Yeah.
I will keep our listeners.
Ann Arbor? Ann Arbor?
Mondi with the right foot.
Really?
I was in Nashville for a Man City friendly.
Wow.
And so the friendly got done, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Remember, that game went really late.
Yeah.
and I'm trying to summons on my phones a stream or something to find out who won the game. And I just like, for whatever reason, I just couldn't get any signal. And so that was probably the game that I often think about. Like, how could I miss that? And I missed it.
Yeah.
In Nashville.
Crazy.
So, yep. Sometimes, just kids, the lesson is you have to go to every game.
Yeah, you gotta
Because you
spread
never know.
yourself too thin. Jaime, what is your Detroit City home game that I guess at Keyworth we should limit it to Keyworth.
Yes, hence for the anniversary. I was gonna say, like, obviously none of us were there because it was pandemic, but like I would have loved to have been at the first ever inaugural women's match at Keyworth.
Oh, yeah.
I always feel like that was a bummer that they had to make that start with only like that like robot guy in the stands.
Oh yeah, Smokey the Robot.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. I mean,
very innovative. Yeah.
The lengths that the fan base, the supporters, went to have some connection to that.
Yeah.
And it was that now that's a cool memory, even though we couldn't be there.
Yeah.
It still sticks in my mind as something special.
Yeah, and a good match too, like a late winner from Kenaway, I think Kenaway. So anyways, wish I would have been there, but such was the state of the world at the time. All right, so we leaned into this hard last week. Hate Maxi week. This match could not have gone any worse for him. Like, it was actually like about whatever the opposite of a fairy tale ending or whatever you want to call it. The exact opposite. So we're gonna start with this. Obviously, if you didn't catch the match, Detroit City won 2-0. Maxi, what was the most humiliating part of this return for him? Because there were many things that I could point to. There's a few of them on our screens. But, I mean, Alan, do you have a favorite Maxi low point of the match?
Not so much what he was doing, but that point when the supporter crowd kind of caught all on to just booing him when he was on the ball.
Every single
time.
touch.
Like, people got it, and it was relentless.
Yes.
And I got a big kick out of that. As much as anything else that happened in that game, that just kind of drove home the point, Did it bother him? Probably not. I mean, it's just, but the fact that everyone collectively kind of said, yeah, we're going to get under his skin, and this is how we're going to do it. Because, certainly the fence line was giving him the works the whole time, but to have the whole stand booing at the same time was, I thought, yeah, you don't often see that.
It was beautiful. Yes, absolutely beautiful. I don't know do you know, like, did the Capos try to organize that, or did it come out organically?
I think it just came out of the crowd,
Yeah.
Some people, like, kind of in the know that, that's what you should do. And then it just kind of, like, filtered through the crowd, and more people started doing it, and then it was everybody, and it was just, it was loud, too.
Yeah, no, it came through on the broadcast, like, super loud and clear.
The Cabos are pretty good at picking up on stuff that people start organically too, and in the flames. But yeah, it was hate week over here for us. It was hate week for Capos and NGS leadership too. So yeah, there was some stuff that was definitely discussed before the game. Like, I think there was a a tattoo on his ass chant that went out at some point too.
Yeah.
So probably keep in mind what you share on podcasts with your fellow players, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it was just a confluence of everybody getting on board to give, the prodigal son his due when he came back.
Yeah.
It really was kind of encapsulated how his season is going. That one match.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's just like he's trying to be involved. It wasn't working very well. He wasn't the center of attention like he was at City.
Yeah.
And he got the hook, and he was not happy about it either. So, this is what his season is. It's what he's become.
That kind of brings me to like what my most embarrassing point for him was. Like it wasn't the flopping around which we're used to, or the people said he gave the ball away for a second goal. I don't think he technically gave the ball away. Like he put a foot in to make a block, and it went back to one of our players. So
yeah,
but he was involved in our second goal. With Connor Airbud Ruts getting another assist and moving himself up the all-time assist leaders.
That's right.
It's happening.
I think the most embarrassing thing was, and like, listen, I'll preface this by saying, right, when I get hooked in a game early, like you don't want to be around me for the next half an hour to an hour to 2 hours, maybe, like depending who you are. Like I won't talk to you. So like I understand, and I do not play any sport at a high level or a high enough level to behave like that. So I can understand the frustration of getting hooked at halftime, because it's sort of the ultimate insult.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you're down to 10 men after 6 minutes and the team as a whole aren't performing. If you are the one that's hooked, that's good night.
Don't see that too often.
So I can sort of excuse some of the behavior, but at the same time, there's a tweet from last season when Maxi announced he was leaving from one Mr. Brightside. That's me.
Dennis.
With Maxi's statement about leaving, and just me saying, be careful of the fence line next season. Just as a joke, a little bit of joshing.
Yeah.
And one Mitty Rodriguez Esquire responded himself. The man in question, the man in the frames, saying, shouldn't be any other way, and the salute emoji. So when you're acting like you understand it and you get it like that, I don't think coming back, flopping around the ground, and then sitting on the bench sulking like a fucking 7-year-old is really gonna kill it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I believe his sulk fest went into after the game too, where he didn't receive with good grace the machinations of some of the NGS crowd who tried to give him his banner, and usually a player will take their banner. Sometimes players will come over and do the hand slaps, walk along the line.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently Maxi couldn't be coaxed out of the dressing room for a little while.
It was all too much for him.
And then he was a bit frosty when he did eventually poke his head out.
Emerge.
What did you have a specific moment, Jaime, that you could touch on?
Yeah, my favorite one. It's somewhere towards the end of the first half, and he's come back, like how he's always like kind of dropped really deep in midfield to get the ball off the center backs, and then like he was going to be the one that takes the ball forward. So he's come back to do that. He gets the pass, and you can see him point, like his teammate. He was supposed to like run down the right hand side, and he just like hits a Hollywood pass.
A Stevie G special.
Yep, Stevie G special, and you just see the guy, the teammate, the right winger just kind of stops at some point, and the ball just flies all the way into the stand, like is not even anywhere near the field, and you just see his head drop, and it was just like the what was that thing? It was like the face of defeat. You know what I mean? Like he just was like he could not pull himself together. So I was like, yeah.
It's sad. It's sad to see the fall off. You know, it's like when Brad Holmes gets rid of one of the players from the Detroit Lions, and people aren't sure why he would do that, and then they just don't play up to their ability the next season, and you're like, you know, let Brad cook, let Trevor motherfucking James cook, you know.
Yep. Let him cook.
Yep.
All right. So I don't know how nerdy we want to get. There was a tweak to the lineup this past week.
Alan's ears just perked up.
Yeah.
4 at the back. So we've seen Bryant and Wheat and Carroll and Amu Mensah all together on the field. I think that's the first time we've seen that. I don't know how many conclusions you can draw since there was the red card so early. But any thoughts on this new back line? Is it here to stay? Do you think it was just something that Double D cooked up for Rhode Island?
I think Danny's probably Danny has shown himself to be pretty adept at making little minor tweaks like that, especially this season. I think last season a little bit too, but since this season started, at just making little tweaks depending on who we're playing. I think he obviously saw something in Rhode Island that made him want to have the 4 boys out there. Although I don't know what he's really seen from their previous, you know, 1 win and 1 draw that had him super worried. But he obviously saw something. But yeah, a strange one. A strange little one to cook up. But yeah, I would say obviously it worked. Obviously it was helped out by a brain dead decision to try and fish hook Michael Bryant. And I did see some people saying, like, you know, Mikey sold it a bit, but I'm like, the dude had his thumb in his mouth. Like, you don't need to sell that. Like, it's just a brain dead thing to do.
Pretty blatant.
So yeah, I don't know that we can draw too many conclusions from it, but definitely it worked for what it was, and it, with the help that was given, definitely played out well.
Alan?
Yeah, you know, I don't think that's like a new format that we're going to move towards. I think he's also, you know, he wants certain guys on the pitch. Like, again, Shane Wheat, you know, he's really brings a lot, and he's fun to watch. So I wonder if it was partially to bring him in as much as there being a, you know, overhaul of the structure.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's so quick and smart. I mean, he's not a big guy, so, you know, there's not a lot he can do, like, one-on-one with these opponents, but he just, like, he knows where to place the ball, and it's just like he's a big addition. So I can't say enough about him. You know, Chapman was back, so it was, you know, it was a good way to kind of set a few guys up, but I don't think it's like a new starting lineup, but it worked pretty good, you know. Of course, the question was, why wasn't there more than 2 goals scored? Because it seemed like that was, the door was open, the treasure chest was sitting in the middle of the room, diamonds, rubies, gold pieces, it was just all there. Just grab it. But, you know, and I think if I recall, Danny's interview after the game was, you know, he was not happy that they didn't, like, keep up the pace. So, but given the circumstances, I thought it was pretty good.
I think Darren Smith also mentioned in his post-game interview, the DKO was a little bit salty for maybe them taking the foot off the pedal a little bit. Speaking of Darren Smith, another 2 goals. Does anyone want to revise their prediction? Think in March we all kind of who's going to be the top goal scorer and how many, and I think we all kind of I think Garrett picked Morris, but I think most everyone picked Smith, and we're all kind of maybe 10, 12 goals. He's already got 6 and 7 matches. Are we getting carried away?
I refuse to comment on that unless you've pulled a clip or something to prove that. I probably actually wasn't even on that episode, I know.
I think you may not have been.
I have always been a staunch Darren Smith supporter.
Yeah.
And as soon as we signed him from the top flight of the Swedish league, I knew he was going to fucking make hay in this league because, what is this but the American Farmers League, So, bringing in a cultured, 2-footed, will put his body on the line, always there as an out player from, the bright lights of Sweden. That was always going to be a recipe for success. So correct. I'm not surprised that Darren has 6 goals already. And long may it continue. I did say recently that SCL wouldn't be worried about that top scorer mantle or and I might have to revise that by the end.
If Smith finishes this year with 20 goals or something outrageous, he might have to.
Yeah, I think he has shown in his 6 games so far that he is definitely the closest we've been to an SCL since obviously Sean left. I think he puts himself in positions that you want the striker to. He's not a target man really, but he's like Sean was kind of shifty, will slide into positions that are going to put him in the best spot. I'm watching his first goal here right now, and he's just, it's the set piece, right? And I don't know how drawn up it was, but as the ball goes over and comes back, he's just creeping around the edge of the 6-yard box. He's literally just standing there waiting for this ball to come back. It's another volley. He scored a couple of volleys now, and his second goal was a peach, honestly. To get that ball through and know where the keeper was and just be able to lift it over him was.
Yeah, they were both quality.
Yeah, he's got a bit of class about him, and if he continues this, what are we at now? The not the quarter pole, but the 5th pole. Mm-hmm. If he continues at this clip, we could be talking about 30 goals this season.
Yeah,
it'd be insane. I mean, nuts. So,
and the thing that really gets me is he's not doing it as a starter necessarily. He's coming in late in games sometimes and doing it. So he's doing it when he starts, and he's doing it when he's brought in as a closer. So
I don't
that's
think
really impressive.
I don't think he's played 90 minutes, maybe more than once, because he's been subbed off in most of the games that he started, and like I say, he came on against Phoenix or whatever. So his goals to minutes ratio is probably right up there.
Yeah, he's also his shots to goals ratio is 60%. So
that's outrageous.
His shots on goal to goals.
But
I think if he even keeps this up, to a 60 or 70% level for the rest of the season, we're talking about what a good fucking talent spotter Trevor is again.
Yeah, for sure. This could be
where did he pull this dude out of? And he obviously he gave Darren a good pitch because Darren brought his family here with him. So we've seen before where people come over and they don't necessarily bring their families, and Ryan, who now has, but I think it seems to be a bit of a masterstroke at this juncture, but we'll
And there's something a little bit fortuitous too, I think. Like, did you guys listen to his interview on Sheldon's podcast?
Yeah, that's really good.
There was something about like he was possibly moving somewhere. Like he wasn't quite sure where his next move was, I think. And then like the Detroit, did something fall through, and then the Detroit option became available through his agent or something. I don't remember exactly, but it was kind of like he might have signed somewhere else, I think. Like if it had worked out differently, but. Good.
Yeah. He was kind of at 6s and 7s trying to figure out what he was going to do after he decided that he needed to try something different.
Right.
And then something fell through, and he was like, "Oh, what do I do now?" And just however it works, he got the word, and then he's like on a plane. So
right.
So weird. I don't quite understand that part of the business. It's just like some guy that you don't know calls you. Says, "I have a job for you." Like, okay, where? Detroit. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of random.
It seems to be kind of a mad game. There's a young fella playing for my Gaelic football team this summer, and I was talking to him the other day. He's 19. He's Irish, and he's over here on a scholarship, but before he came here, he went to Malta for 6 months to play for a team in Malta. And I was like, how did you end up playing that? And like, he had played for Glentoran when he was younger. And I guess he played some European qualifier for Glentoran, and this Maltese team had come to play them, and he just contacted the manager afterwards and was like, yeah, like, I'd love to come play in Malta. Like, are you looking for anyone? He's only like 17 or 18 at this point. And the manager was like, yeah, come on out for like a trial or whatever. And he went out there for a trial, and they just kept him out there for a few months before he came here to pick up with the college team he was coming to. And it seems like a fucking kind of mad industry, like where sometimes you just have to kind of make the moves happen yourself, or you have to just trust in the calls that you're getting.
Having a manager, having agent that is looking out for you, not trying to rip you off, and and the agent says, "Yeah, this is okay," then it made him like more interested, and I guess the initial conversations he had with Trevor and Danny, like, he felt good about. So yeah, it's just like vibes.
Straight vibes.
Oh, I did just want to go back to Dennis already brought up the assist for Connor. That is a great pass. Like, I know, like, we all kind of say, like, yeah, we love Connor. He does the dirty work and he runs and he defends. That was a great pass on the second Darren Smith goal.
Yeah, it was very heads up play.
So I wanted to shout out Connor Rutz.
Well, it's a bit early for shout outs.
I know. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, so this weekend, it's the Jagermeister Cup, which I didn't realize until like just today. And I still don't really like my brains. It's like the League Cup, right, in England?
Yeah.
But there's a group stage though.
Yeah, they're doing a group instead of just straight knockouts. So there's a group of either 6 or 7 teams, but everybody only plays 4 games in the group. So we won't play everybody that's in our group.
Right.
And it's an even split of 2 home games, 2 away games, but like obviously it's not like home and home.
Yeah.
And then the winners, there's 6 groups. The winners of the 6 groups go into the quarterfinals, along with the 2 best place runners up, based on points and then goal difference, like normal fucking tournaments, which the USL doesn't do. And then there is also a different scoring system based on if you win a match outright, it's 3 points.
Oh, yeah.
But if you draw, it goes straight to penalties. There's no extra time.
Oh, wow.
But if a match ends in a tie, it goes to penalties, and if you win via penalties, you get 2 points instead of 3.
Hockey scoring.
It's hockey scoring. Like if you make it to penalties, you get a point regardless. Then obviously, if you lose in just straight 90 minutes, you don't get any points. So there's a little bit different scoring, and it's obviously USL Championship and USL 1 teams. So yeah, a little bit of mixing up. The games are going to be played over like the course of 3 or 4 months, so there's only like one per month or something.
Yeah.
Quarterfinals won't be till fall. But yeah, something to spice it up and kind of guess get the juices flowing for some pro rel coming up here maybe.
Yeah.
Show that teams can.
So Detroit's playing Westchester in this.
Well, we play Pittsburgh this week.
Right, but I'm just saying the other opponents in the Jagermeister Cup.
Westchester, Portland, Hearts of Pine, Hartford.
I think I was gonna say I think it's Hartford. So,
yeah, we have definitely have two USL teams and two championship teams and 2 League One teams.
Yes.
Obviously, they're all
USL.
All USL. We're all one big happy family.
What are we? Alan, do you think it's going to be?
And Rhode Island.
Rhode Island are in our group. Do we play them?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. It'll still be good to finish ahead of them, though.
Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna win our group, obviously.
Totally. Alan, do you think we'll see a heavily rotated squad for this, or do you think we keep the party going?
You know, I would expect there to be heavy rotation from everybody, really. I really don't know what to expect, either from us or Pittsburgh, because these type of games are such an opportunity to use the players that aren't getting minutes. Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And so I think it would look more like the Open Cup game, and that's fine because I thought we did pretty good with that. But what makes it more difficult is I don't know who Pittsburgh's going to put out there.
Yeah.
They're not having such a great season so far. So I do wonder if they're going to want to, like, maybe use some starting players, just try to eke out a win in for something. Their away form is very poor. I think they've won 1 game out of 4. If I'm looking at Thought Mob correctly, but so that would suggest that we've got a real good opportunity here to stick it to Pittsburgh, which is always fun. But I'm sure we'll have some of our regulars on the bench, so not everybody's going to get the week off, but I would expect to see Haruki and Gasso and some of the other gents that played in the Open Cup game and did pretty good.
Maybe Adebayo Smith.
Yeah.
Does anyone know, is Augustine Williams injured? Because he was kind of like the big name that they signed over the summer, but I don't think he's played yet. So I'm guessing he's injured, but I haven't really been able to confirm that one way or another.
I think he's had a goal, so he has been playing.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, he's played 514 minutes, Jaime. He's just been washed, I guess.
Must be. He had a decent season with Indy last year, but
yeah, he had 1 goal in there. Actually, Pittsburgh have only drawn an away game. They haven't even won one. It was 1.
Oh, he got a goal in their first match.
Yeah, against North Carolina, which is the one they drew away.
It looks like he's been playing.
They haven't had a great start to the season at all. The only thing I'd be worried about I would love to see a pretty rotated roster for this. Like, I would love to see our third goalkeeper get a shot for a game.
Yes, it has to be. If he didn't play in USL
Cup, didn't play in the Open Cup. Would love to see him get a bit of a shot, maybe here. I don't know. I know Matt is coming back from an injury too, so maybe he gets kind of rotated in. Would love to see Haruki, and some of the lads who are getting lesser minutes up front. My only worry with it is that because it's not like an Open Cup game, like it's not midweek, so it's honestly just like a normal match week.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe they overthink it and they just play, our normal team, which I guess it is a normal, there's a full week between games here, so it wouldn't be that big a deal if they did, and maybe they do want to just go out and make a statement on Pittsburgh that like, hey, we're not going to let up the gas here, not going to let up the gas out.
That could be. I mean, it's really hard to say. I don't know.
Yeah, like. In which case, like when we do come up against, the likes of Westchester or Hearts of Pine, like I would hope we'd start to rotate people in. But I could see it going either way. Honestly, I could see him wanting to make putting a stamp on the start of this and get ourselves to the top of that table, and give ourselves an easier ride in the other three games, because the other three games they are like quote unquote lesser opponents. They're a couple League One teams and Hartford, so unless Hartford start to have a Loudon type renaissance, they don't worry me too much either.
Prediction? Anyone?
I'll let Alan go first while I look up our head-to-head against Pittsburgh.
I'm going to say 3-1 Detroit City.
Ooh. Bold. I like it.
That's a big one. Are you going to say who you think's going to score?
Any goal scorer predictions?
No, because I don't really know what the lineup is, so it'll be a mystery.
No hot takes from Alan. Jaime, what's your prediction?
I'm going to say 1-0. I do think that there will be somewhat of a rotation in the lineup. I'm going to say Bob Lilly's pretty good at setting out his team to be organized and not too loosey-goosey. So I'll say 1-0, and I'm going to say... Who's going to score? I think Atez Juve gets on the score sheet finally.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we have played Pittsburgh 9 times because we played them in some friendlies before we were USL.
Yep, correct.
Pittsburgh have won 2 of those games. We have won 1 of those games. The other 6 have ended in scoreless draws.
Wow.
So I am going to go out on a limb here and say, maybe not scoreless draws, just draws. City have scored 3 goals against Pittsburgh in their 9 games. So I'm going to say City 4, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Benjamin Morris jumps in with a brace because he feels like Darren is usurping him. Dom, obviously, Pittsburgh Tormentor will lash one in.
Yep.
And what about Haruki? We'll get Haruki on the score sheet too.
Nice one.
Sounds good. I like it.
Well, we're gonna end with a little bit of breaking women's news.
Breaking news.
Does anyone know why they're slacking off so much in terms of player announcements and stuff?
I'd have to go back and see when they started announcing them last year, because I feel like as Detroit City fans, we have a tendency to be like, where are all the announcements? And then when we check, it's like, oh, they didn't actually start till 4 days in the future last year. Okay, cool. Sorry.
Do you think that's actually what it was? Like, I don't really.
Well, I don't. That's what I'm saying. We would have to go back and check because every year we do this, and it turns out that like we're right on schedule or we're like a little bit ahead or behind.
So you're saying my angst is unjustified?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying we would have to check. I'm saying it has been proven in the past to be unjustified. Yes,
that's true. Yes, that is.
I mean, clearly, teams are getting set up now.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I'm sure ours is too. They just haven't rolled them out.
Yeah. No, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure we have like some players committed to play for the team already.
Yeah.
So I actually stumbled across an interview with Lily Jekyll on some national soccer network or something. She's out doing tournament or showcase or something with nationals. I think it's like one of the ECNL events or something. So it's a short interview, like 10 minutes or something, but she does confirm that she's playing with Detroit City this summer, which is cool. I think we've heard like rumors and whispers that was maybe happening or probably happening, but I don't think, at least I hadn't heard anything confirmed yet. So right here, April 23rd, we are calling it. It's like, I feel like it's election night. We're calling it for Detroit City. Lily Jekyll to return to the fold. So that's a big one. Obviously, she's great.
451 Research Department is hard at work for you.
Always with the scoop.
It's just Jaime.
It's just me.
I've got
nothing better to do with my life. So.
If Jaime's direct report is listening, you probably should give him some more work to do. He literally has enough hours in the day to be listening to fucking Fox Nation Sports or whatever to get scoops on local rivals for an amateur women's league.
Exactly. So
amazing work.
Shout out to the University of Michigan for funding all of this. That's all I got. Anyone else want to talk about anything? Pistons.
Wow, we go so quickly on this podcast to other sports when we think we have nothing to talk about. I thought we were going to talk about who's our biggest rival in the USL.
Oh yeah. Well, so we are playing Pittsburgh. Actually, my kid asked me this. He asked me if I thought Pittsburgh was our biggest rival in USL. Obviously, it's still pretty early days. I do hate Pittsburgh, but I also hate Louisville and I hate Indianapolis.
Yeah. I'd say you probably touched on the three we would talk about as the big ones. I think Louisville to me is out of the equation because I don't know. I hate their fans. I don't really hate. I guess I do hate the team too, but we don't beat them enough or give them enough competitive games. Honestly,
right.
Yeah,
call it like a rivalry. Yet, as we just talked about, I think probably Pittsburgh and Indy got the jump as our like rivals because we used to play them in friendlies too even before we came into the league. So, not that there was bad blood in like friendlies or whatever, but they always sounded like they were pretty chippy games. But yeah, they're probably the team we've played the most. Like we've played Indy 7 times, and it's like, Indy's won 3, we've won 2, and we've drawn 3. So it's pretty balanced. Same as Pittsburgh, they've won 2, we've won 1, we've drawn 6. So I would say it's probably like 1A, 1B, Pittsburgh and Indy.
There's a geographic component too, I think.
They're the ones that we get the most fans to, and probably the ones that send the most fans to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so until we get, USL Milwaukee, USL Chicago, whatever, they'll probably be the closest ones for that sort of thing. What do you think?
I'd have to give it to Pittsburgh though, because we beat them in big games. Well, a big game.
Yeah. That's the one that would tip it over for me to make them.
And they were really mad about that. So we got some heat going on that, just that alone. The other stuff hasn't really been so much on the pitch, but like our away trips there have always had some drama going on. Not with the fans. The fans stick to themselves. Like the local cops are assholes. But I guess that's true no matter where you go. But there, it's just like for absolutely no reason, they're very aggressive to us, and they're just very offended by our colorful language and our merrymaking. So to me, that's their problem, not our problem. And. So I think that's gotta kind of bump them up. I mean, we've had, not so much big stuff in Indy, mainly with that, just like people in the stands. I'm not used to away fans, so it was exotic for them. But in terms of support, both clubs are fairly well supported, and have their own particular supporter cultures. I know Indies supporters struggle with their club like many supporters do around the league and around the world. But I would say my first reaction is it's got to be Pittsburgh. And so I don't see anybody else kind of rising to that level.
It's pretty telling that like the three names that come up for us are the three teams with like pretty active supporters groups. So like there's someone to kind of have
that's true
chips at. I would say like it's hard to do one from like separate conferences, but I would say like our biggest rival in the Western Conference is probably Phoenix, and it's for the same reason. Like they have a pretty chippy, or they used to have a pretty chippy like supporters group who we were able to get into it with, and it's a pretty equal results wise, even though we don't play them that often. But yeah, all this to say, the rest of you scrubs need to like step up your game, so you can come into consideration as our biggest rival.
You want to get highlighted on this program, you better step it up.
Yeah, you want some national games, come at us.
Dennis, while we were discussing this, I did scroll back on Instagram, and April 26th.
There you go.
2024, Dave Dwayhe was unveiled as the head coach returning, and the first wave of women's players last year was announced on April 30th.
There you go. I've never been wrong. Never in my life.
Never been wrong. So all that to say, if they've not been announced by this time next week,
yeah, I will
throw a fit.
If we're on here next week and there's been no announcements, and I know Sean Mann listens to this, so Sean,
hi Sean,
you better tell Mackie to start rolling out some announcements.
Yeah.
Well, if my calendar is correct, we have an owners meeting on April 30th, so. One way or the other, we'll find out.
Oh yeah, definitely. If that's next Wednesday, so definitely if it hasn't happened next Wednesday, Alan can get up and throw a strop or whatever.
Yeah.
Start flinging
what
around.
What are you doing?
Start flinging around his season 1 scarf and say, that's "I've been here since day one." Like all those.
Kind of a big deal around here. Yeah.
All right, shout outs.
I have some shout outs actually.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I want to shout out Maxi just for coming back, I want to shout out A real one. I actually have a real one. Shout out Norm in the Discord who called the bar in Chicago for the Open Cup game, so that they could have somewhere to go, or we could have somewhere to go before the game, and they know we're coming, so they're prepared.
Good. That always helps.
Check out the NGS website for all your travel needs. There's also going to be a meetup, I think, the night before at a bar closer to me. That's not 50 minutes away like the fucking stadium. Because a dude who owns a bar here, who I guess is a DCFC fan, reached out and was like, hey, come hang out at the bar the night before. Or no, he actually offered it up for the game. But we were like, dude, you're like 25 miles away from the stadium, so it's probably not going to work.
It's a long march.
It's a long march, and like as Alan knows, a mile here is not the same distance as a mile in Michigan.
Right.
Yeah. Shout out to all the people holding it down, in whatever they're doing. I had a good one earlier too, but no, I forgot what it was. So I guess shout out Darren Smith. Shout out Trevor James for finding Darren Smith.
Yep.
Yeah. My real one again. Shout out to the Hearts of Pine fan or the Westchester fan that came through for the game last week and hung out with NGS before the game.
Oh wow.
Nice.
I did see a few people wearing Westchester shirts or T-shirts or something.
He reached out as soon as the draw was made, and if I remember correctly from the messages he sent, he's also planning to come back for the game in July as well.
Oh, cool.
And he said they didn't have any SG scarves yet, but he would love to swap a Westchester scarf with a City scarf or an NGS scarf or whatever. So I think Jam sorted them out.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, so real shout out to him. Real shout out to Norm. The other ones, they're red shout outs. Or Garrett shout outs. Garrett shout out. Shout out to Garrett. That flow is magnificent.
Lovely. Alan?
I'm never prepared for these.
Alan, I gave you so much time, bro.
I know. I've been racking my brain,
minutes.
so I'm sure I'm forgetting something very important that
Next
really
time.
needed to be addressed. But
Alan, are you coming to the Fire game?
I am, but I'm driving up day of and staying overnight after the game.
I'm giving you a notebook. I'm going to gift you a little notebook so you can write down your thoughts during the week. And then when we get to this point of the podcast, you'll have copious shout-outs. And you know what your first one can be?
Is it a bohemian notebook?
No, it's just going to be like a dollar store notebook. But you know what your first shout-out
Well, I don't have one of those. I have a Bose notebook, but I don't have a dollar store notebook.
Well, you should use the Bose notebook for this then.
That's true.
It would be a worthy use.
And you know, your first shout out can either be shout out Dennis for giving me a notebook or reminding me to use my Bose notebook.
That is a worthy shout out.
There you go. You're ahead of the game for the next episode.
That's right.
Done and dusted. I actually was going to shout out Darren Smith for real, not just for his goals, but for posting this picture that you can see behind me on his Instagram. I don't know if he knew intentionally, like all the backstory. I'm sure he must have heard.
He has to know.
But this was the moment Maxi went to slide tackle him and missed terribly. Another one of his humiliating moments from the match.
Someone someone in Discord made it a GIF.
Nice. I love that.
I gotta find that. That's cool.
But yeah, so Smith posted this picture after the match, and I thought that was great.
And I cropped it sort of like mine because in the full version of mine, SpongeBob is above.
Such a great photo. Oh
and
my god!
You know the meme, like him leaning over, like
yes.
But much like mine, the crop did the perfect job there because all you can see is Darren's booty.
I've been trying to not, keep my head so that it wouldn't distract from our podcast.
Yeah, no, that's honestly that's a perfect prop. Like,
Shoutouts. Any other shoutouts? Shout out to Jam. Thanks again for coming on last week. She was great.
We should get Jam on more often if she was up for it.
We should do that. I'm gonna offer her a contract.
Yeah.
Later in the week. So.
And I'll badger her to sign it when I see her when she comes.
That's gonna wreck our wage scale.
Yeah, it's gonna really cause consternation among the rest of us.
It's gonna cause problems in the locker room.
The
451 locker room. Grumbling.
The financial fair play of.
That's okay. Those rules are optional.
Exactly. Well, that's all for us. That's all we have time for. There's so much more that we could discuss, but it's my bedtime. So
and we think we're under an hour finally.
I think we are actually, yeah. So tune in next week when we will Maxi Hate Week will continue. From now until forever, and
City till I die, say hi to the bad guy. Pretty gritty in the key, you see a flag fly, chin check, hashtag we came to sweep the leg. With all disrespect, the rules will bruise your head. 2012, the scene pop, we came to clean clocks. Your team is dream drop, we gave some mean knocks, stomping on the comp. Yeah, we chomping on the bit. Many came and went, but they ain't stopping none of it. Community built, community owned, roasting foes coast to coast. Leave your hope postponed. Spirit of Detroit, lemons the lemonade. Yemen and Bangladesh make a stronger.